Hey guys, and welcome to the channel. First of all, I have to say something. Thank you everyone for your support during the Olympics. It's been fantastic to have so many people of you. If you're new subscribers, welcome. If you're old subscribers, thank you for, just supporting the channel, really, and liking the videos, sharing them, getting involved in the live streams. It was fantastic. Really enjoyed it. I know Venu did as well for the matches that he did. I mean, it was a very interesting tournament. Obviously, you can see his Zverev. We're going to go over his first. We're going to go over the men's first. Then we'll touch on the women's as well. And potentially, I may also do a collaboration with someone else. A bit of a surprise, potentially, hopefully. That will come out as well. But before we get into that, Tokyo 2020 Olympics, I have to say it was weird, right? A different format in the sense that we didn't have a best of 5 in the final. It was a best of 3 and no crowd as well, which was sad, of course, but it added another layer, I think, to the tournament. It meant that people couldn't get as G'd up from the crowd or their fans in the crowd as much as they usually would do. There was still that pride to celebrate and, pride to represent your country, but not really as much as maybe it would have been with a crowd, I think. And I think that played into some players' favours and against other players as well, depending on how they feed off a crowd, etc. And the pressure as well that they feel. Let's just be honest, that's kind of where we're at. Alexander Zverev, I mean, what a tournament for the big German, the 24-year-old. I mean, his first major final win. I mean, I think the ATP Tour Finals obviously up there as well, but this is definitely bigger. I think when I look at the Olympics, I class it just below the Grand Slams. I know Alexander Zverev said that it is the most important and the biggest tournament to win in tennis, but I don't feel like the Olympics is the pinnacle of the sport. Sorry, Alexander. But look, I mean, he's right in the sense that I think it is a very important tournament. We saw how much it means, for example, to Djokovic, who, heartbreakingly for him, just hasn't managed to capture that gold medal. And it means a lot, I think, to win it for your country. So clearly it means a lot to these players, and it's not something they take lightly. And I think every player gives their best when they go out there. And I don't think it's something that people disregard. I think, when we sit down and we look at players' careers, if you've won a gold medal, you've done something incredible. So a very, very good effort from Alexander Zverev, a fantastic effort. And it has to be said, we saw some of the best tennis that he's played ever in this tournament. It has to be said. Right, so let's go over a little bit about his route, I guess, to the final and also to the gold. And I want to touch upon some key areas where I thought I saw some huge improvements in Zverev's game and also some things that were positive going forward into the rest of the hardcourt swing and also into that US Open, which, is going to be very significant because we've got Rafa, Roger, and Novak all going into it in 20 slams. But, also, what does it mean for Alexander Zverev going towards that? Because he will be looking at that saying, I'm a big threat, and rightly so after that win, especially the way that he played, I think. So, he faced Louis in the first round, 1 in straights. Same with Galan Riveros, which 2, I don't want to say easy touches because everyone, can win on their day for sure, but he's expected to come through those. Basilashvili was a slightly harder test, but got through that as well in straights. And Jeremy Chardy, who had a fantastic run, by the way, to the quarters, he managed to dispatch him in straight sets. And then he came up against what can only be described as probably the hardest matchup in tennis right now against Novak Djokovic, the number 1 player in the world and the most informed player in the world right now. Look, if you don't know and you're a very casual fan, I'll quickly sum up for you. Novak Djokovic has won all 3 of the Grand Slams this year, and he is in incredible form going into this Olympics. He came into that match against Alexander Zverev on a 27-match winning streak in singles and doubles, most of that singles, only a few doubles at Mallorca and then here at the Olympics. And he was just in supreme confidence. Didn't play, I wouldn't say, his best tennis, to be honest, since the French Open final, really. Pretty much won Wimbledon with his B game and shows how dominant he's being at the moment, or was anyways. and came into this tournament with the same. Some very good serving at times, but I wouldn't say that he played his top level in this tournament. Personally, I think we saw glimpses of it, but not long periods of sets. Now, Alexander Zverev, to sum this up for you, this semi-final, and obviously everyone that joined the live stream will know and who watched it, and I'm sure everyone does know, but to come back, it's not just that he beat Novak Djokovic, who's the number one player, and also the best player in the world, the man in form. To beat him is just a huge, huge feat at the moment this year. But it wasn't just the fact that he beat him, it's the fact that he beat him and then didn't just say, oh, you know what, I've beaten you, and it's in straight sets, I've blown you away, and it's one of those wins where the player kind of, he just comes into this rich vein of form and then beats the opponent, right? And that can happen to anyone. It's happened to Novak, it's happened to Rogers, happened to Rafa in moments, right? When they've been upset early in Grand Slams, for example, it happens. But this wasn't one of those moments, because Alexander Zverev got completely, comprehensively beaten down by Djokovic in that first set, 6-1. And when I say comprehensively beaten down, the reason why I say that is because Alexander Zverev was serving at 80% first serve percentage, and Djokovic was returning like an absolute demon. Now, after that, you're thinking, surely Djokovic is going to... As soon as he won that first set, I was thinking to myself, this could be a very, very short match. Like, genuinely extremely short. We go into that second set, and he's 3-1 down in a breakdown. Manages to hold serve to keep it at 3-2, but he's still a breakdown. Then he just goes on this incredible, incredible run of games, and he just turns it on so much. The serve is still there, but it's not just him serving big, which, to be honest, we know that's a weapon that's in his armory. He's always had that. The biggest issue was the double faults, right? And the lack of first serves being made. This tournament, he was very good. Only 2 double faults in the whole tournament. Really, really impressive from the German. And in the end, that proved to be a huge factor in this, not just this match, but this whole tournament. And that's why one of the biggest factors to him winning the gold, which we'll touch upon more. But the serve was firing as it had done in the first set. That wasn't the big issue. The big issue was that Djokovic was making the returns. He was making balls, making Zverev play an extra shot where he probably wasn't expecting to. But Zverev did so well behind the serve from that point on towards the end of the match. The 1+ shot was super impressive. And he's that type of player who you look at and you're almost jealous as someone who is just a casual, I play for a local club. And I watch him and I just think, it's effortless in the sense that he has power of both wings, right? He's technically sound. He's got a huge serve and he's good at the net. He is in terms of his fundamentals as a tennis player, he is complete. That's not to say that there's not areas for him to improve, but in terms of what he has, I think he's a pretty complete player. He is someone that when he's on song, he doesn't really have a weakness or a hole to push. It's more of a mental thing, personally, is how I see it. Now, the backhand was just incredible. And one thing that really stood out to me was the backhand on the line. And I said it in my stream and I stand by it. Novak Djokovic has the best backhand on the line I think I've ever seen in my life. Probably one of the best ever. Alexander Zverev was hitting it as well as Novak Djokovic on his best days. His backhand on the line was on fire. I've never seen him hit it better than in this match. And it was incredible. Novak did not know what to do. And sometimes in the past, he's been a culprit to just going cross-court forehand and backhand. And that's the safe shot, right? But against Novak, you can't do that. Like, he's not a basic player. And Alexander Zverev knew he had to hit bigger and cleaner and also vary it up. So then he started hitting the backhand slice to the backhand of Novak. Occasionally went down the line with the slice. And the best thing was that backhand on the line. But not just that, he would go forehand on the line, which is a shot which at times he does struggle with. But he was crunching it. He was absolutely crunching it. And he just seemed in incredible form. And these are types of matches that when you have that type of form, you have to cash in. And that's exactly what Zverev did in this tournament. He cashed in. His serve was firing. He didn't get any yips right throughout the whole tournament. He was hitting the ball cleanly. It wasn't passive like he's been accused of in the past, where it's like he's just waiting for the opponent to make a mistake when he's got the weapons to hurt people. And people say, why are you not doing it? He did it in this tournament. And that was what, for me, was incredibly impressive. Novak Djokovic just didn't have an answer. And to be honest, it's the first time really that I've seen Novak Djokovic play this year, and he has been comprehensively outplayed. In Rome, for example, he had his moments, and Nadal managed to just get over the line there. And, he's lost other matches, but it wasn't, you could cite, okay, well, lack of match practice or a little bit of injury. I know after he said, okay, I may have had a niggle here or there, but he did play pretty well. Not his A-star level, fine, but he played pretty well. And Alexander Zverev was just too good. And sometimes the player is just too good, and that's the way it is. And, I think, look, I don't know whether Novak also has a little bit of a mental pressure on him because it's another semi-final that he's lost at the Olympics, and he just doesn't seem to be able to get past that stage at the Olympics. And it means a lot to him. It's the one thing, right? Now, it's the one thing after leveling on 20 slams that Roger and Rafa have. They have a gold medal, at least. Roger's in doubles, so for me, it doesn't mean as much, personally, as a singles player, which they are. But for Rafa, he's got singles and doubles. Now, Novak was looking at getting the gold in the singles and in the mixed doubles. He pulled out the mixed doubles semi after this match, citing a shoulder injury. By the way, I do feel bad for Stojanovic, but I also saw it coming, like it wasn't a surprise. And if he does have a niggle, he's always going to prioritize his well-being because he wants to go hard for the US Open. And like, as a tennis player, you're an individual, so you will be selfish about it. And I know people will be like, oh my gosh, but how could he do that? And I do feel bad for her, I really do. But like, she probably would have known that when she paired up with Djokovic, that potentially that could happen if, for example, he went deep in both, which he did. So I don't know. But there's a big question mark about whether he should have played mixed doubles or not as well. Should he have? Would it have made a difference? I don't know. It's easy for me to sit here and say yes, but it could easily have been a mental fatigue more than even a physical fatigue, which he cited both after, to be honest with you. So who knows whether one was more than the other or equal, but either way, Alexander Zverev was just on fire. And I'm going to be honest with you, from that halfway through that second set until the end of that match, I've never seen Alexander Zverev play better in my life. It was incredible tennis to watch. The shot making, unbelievable. His composure at the net, incredible. The way that he was making sure that when he was hitting approach shots, he was hitting it with purpose, making sure that Djokovic wasn't able to pass him easily, coming to the net, making sure that the volley was composed, right? He just structured the points so well. Sorry, I'm getting really excited because it's just fantastic to see someone take on the big three or one of the big three when they're in this form and actually say, I'm going to come back from a set and a breakdown. I'm going to beat you. And that's what he did. And that's what was so impressive. That's what was so impressive for me. So yeah, look, I was so happy with the way that he played. I thought it was fantastic. And I can't wait to see him at the US Open, genuinely, because if he can carry on this form, if he can make sure that if he can make sure that he doesn't get the yips at the US Open, he's a real threat. He's a real threat. And obviously, we'll talk about it more as the US Open draws nearer, but he's a real threat. Right, okay. Alexander Zverev, as I said, fantastic. And by the way, he becomes the first ever German men's singles player to win a gold medal. So really, really incredible achievement. And I'm sure everyone in Germany was super proud of him as well, because that is some feat. And he should be very proud. He really should. And on top of that, became, I think, the second German tennis player to win a singles gold medal after Steffi Graf obviously won the Golden Slam, which is what Novak was looking to replicate, but unfortunately fell in the semis. Right, okay, let's talk about Khachanov, because, he won silver, right? I mean, he played damn well. He played very, very well, beat Corinna Buster in the semi-final, who, by the way, we'll touch upon because he had a fantastic bronze medal match against Djokovic. But Khachanov played an incredible match against Corinna Buster. He blew him away, really, which was a surprise to me because Corinna Buster, especially after the way they played against Djokovic to win the bronze medal match, you're just thinking, okay, like, Corinna Buster didn't play his best, but Khachanov did play extremely well. The in-twin forehand is a weapon for sure, and the serve as well when it's firing can be. He is though still a little bit underpowered compared to someone like Zverev, and it showed in the final. And I think the issue that he has is he gets pushed back, and as soon as he gets pushed back, his offensive capabilities are decent, but they're not as good as someone like a Zverev, who we saw against Djokovic in some of the points, and Khachanov defensively was very good, actually, to be fair, in this tournament, and that's something that has definitely, I think, been there because his footwork and fitness has been improving, something he's worked on hard over the years, but it's definitely bearing fruit, and it's at times when he needs to call upon it. No, it doesn't. Shouldn't be a default, but when he needs to call upon it, it definitely gets him out of trouble. And Khachanov just struggled with his Zverev serve, to be honest with you, and wasn't able to get a lot of returns in. Made a big difference, to be honest with you. And yeah, I mean, in fact, we can go over some of the very, very briefly over some of the stats in that match. So I mean, 6-3. Makes a difference. Double faults. First serve percentage 69%. First serve points won 84 compared to 58, which is a huge difference. Second serve points won 57-40. Right. I mean, it shows you there like how dominant Zverev was. Breakpoint saved. Only had one breakpoint opportunity. Khachanov, and Zverev had 8 and took 4 of them. And then if we look at winners, 27-15, 7-11 for Khachanov. So that's a big, big difference. That's a huge difference in the scheme of things, and that is why we saw Alexander Zverev take the gold medal at Tokyo, and why he now is a gold medalist, and why Khachanov unfortunately had to take the silver medal. Net points won as well, and it shows here that when Zverev comes to the net, he's a force to be reckoned with. Khachanov tried to at times and wasn't as successful. Some incredible passing shots from the German. And yeah, just overall, just a really impressive performance. So yeah, really, really good. Okay, I just want to briefly touch upon Carreño Busta because I thought he was so good. Carreño Busta was incredible. Genuinely was an absolute beast. I cannot wait to see him in the US Open. The reason why I say that is because he had a very underwhelming performance against Khachanov, but against Medvedev he was really good. And then in the bronze medal against Djokovic, the in-to-in forehand and into-out forehand, they are weapons, man. I mean, he was hitting clean winners off that forehand, and that forehand when he's striking it the way that he was, flipping heck, that is an absolute weapon and a half. Genuinely incredible. Genuinely incredible. So I'm looking forward to seeing him at the US Open as well. So let's see how he does there. Okay, that's all from the men's. I'm going to briefly touch upon the women's. So I'm just going to bring up Bencic's road to the final as well. Obviously, she powered past Vondroušová in the final. Very impressive win for her. And yeah, I mean, she was so good, man. I mean, she also won the gold doubles as well, which is just incredible. So she is just, yeah, double gold for her, which is incredible. Right, so yeah, she came through Pagula in the first one, which, by the way, is a tough first round. It's a very tough round, first round for her. So to come through that is impressive in straights. Then she obviously beat Doi in straights. Krejcikova, the former French Open champion, she beat in 3. Pavlyuchenkova, she beat in 3, who is the former French Open champion. French Open finalist, even, sorry. And then she beat Rybakina in 3 sets, who's a person in form. And then Vondroušová in 3 sets. So very impressive stuff from Bencic. She's just really, really impressive. Genuinely, I can't look and fault anything that she's done so far. I think it's been incredible to see her development, and she's someone who this year has had a pretty good year so far. I mean, look, she's good. She's good. I mean, she won the first set 7-5, right? But I don't know. It's a strange one because Bencic is a good player. She hasn't quite made her mark on the Grand Slams. So we'll see. Obviously, Svitolina won her... she won Ukraine's maiden Olympic tennis medal, by the way, which is impressive. Winning the bronze in the bronze medal match as well. But Bencic was crazy. She won the gold in the women's. Crazy. So Vondroušová actually earlier beaten Bencic at the Miami Open as well earlier in the year. So for Bencic to do that is really good. Bencic actually has now 23-14 record this year, win to loss. And Vondroušová 19-13 win to loss. So they've both had pretty good years so far. And obviously Svitolina beating Rybakina 1-6, 7-6, 6-4. So extremely impressive stuff. And Bencic is just incredible. Genuinely, like, so good. And also got... I mean, sorry, she didn't win gold though. What am I talking about? She got silver. She didn't win two. She had a chance to win 2 golds, but only 1 silver, losing to Krejcikova and Siniakova. I even watched that. I don't know what's wrong with me. But anyways, yeah, really impressive stuff from the Swiss player. And let's see how she does at the US Open. Let's see, man. I mean, it was a very open. Obviously, Osaka fell early to Vondroušová, who had a fantastic run. And then we also had, who else fell? Osaka fell. Barty fell as well in the first round. So a lot of the seeds Swiatek fell. I mean, I don't know. I mean, it looked like it might come to a stage where Barty, for example, might be a bit more dominant. Osaka on the hards as well. And we're going to see that. Yes, I think Barty, for example, was probably struggling with a bit of fatigue from Wimbledon. Osaka hadn't had any match practice. So I don't know if that plays a part. It probably does. But the women's tennis, I think, it's exciting, man. You just don't know who's going to win. And I think that, for me, is great. And obviously, Sabalenka losing as well early doors. So she was one of the favourites. So, yeah, I'm impressed by, I think, how even some of the contests are and how there isn't a huge gap, I think, between the players in the top 20. Whereas I feel like in the men's there was. But that gap is closing. It's closing. So, yeah, let's see. Anyways, thank you very much, guys, for tuning in, and I really do appreciate it. Please remember to smash the like button and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. I really do appreciate it. We will be doing, of course, extensive coverage of the US Open. We'll be doing day-by-day reviews, live streams of matches, live stream watch-alongs of matches, and also we will be doing a preview for the US Open. Most likely, I will be having a guest on for that, if possible. That's the hope anyway. And also, we will be doing an extensive review, obviously, after the US Open as well. On top of that, we'll probably do some of the Cincinnati Masters and maybe the Washington 250 as well. We'll see how we go in terms of time and busyness. I can't guarantee those, but I can guarantee everything from that US Open that I did. Okay, thank you very much, guys, and I'll see you on the next video. And let me know what you thought as well of the Olympics. Leave your comments below. And yeah, please remember to support the channel. Please continue to do so. We hit our goal of 1K, so any help towards the 2K subs is really greatly appreciated. Thank you very much.